What's going on, everybody? It is Carolyn and Myron. I just made up this new name called Next Level, and we're going to get someone I recently met, Carlos. Let's jump him in here. Carlos,
What's up, guys? How you doing?
what is going on, man?
Hey, Carlos, how are you?
There we go.
Good. Carolyn, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring you on. We are streaming right now.
Sweet.
No pressure.
Not pressured at all. I'm excited though.
How's your day going?
It's always good. I got up early, started reading a little bit, meditation. I take these cold showers now. It's been like 2 months, and I swear to you, during the summer, it's like they're getting colder. I don't know what's going on.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Myron feels the opposite. He's like, they feel warm.
They
I'm
feel
gonna make
warm
them
to me.
colder.
There was a point where the first time it was like, I was like, yeah, this is easy. And now I'm like, what's going on? It's getting colder. I think maybe because I have the AC so cold, I wake up cold, That's probably it. I'm probably waking up freezing and then jumping in there and it's already freezing.
Are you doing like 75 hard, or are you just doing like cold showers because you want to do cold showers?
No, so a couple years ago, really fell into personal development, self-education. So listened to a lot of like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Eric Thomas, Dan Pena. There's so many people that I listened to. Inky Johnson, so many great people.
Yeah.
Les Brown, and so I just started to read, and then from reading, listening to a lot of YouTube videos, and just working on myself. And through that, I've learned how to meditate, learned how to pray, take some cold showers, just trying to figure out how to like progress the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so, yeah, it's kind of that. This year, though, I think after the Clever Summit and the All In seminar, when I had started to find out who the hell Ed Milet was, I started to implement his 21 mini days in a week. Are you guys aware of how he does that?
Doesn't he break it down by like, correct me if I'm wrong, like 6 hour increments
windows
in your day? Is that it?
Yeah. So like I got into this business this year and I've outworked myself. Like I worked very hard, but what I didn't do is I didn't come with the structure this time. I didn't come in like, I guess, as disciplined. I just went in and I worked, overstressed myself, didn't even really work on my body or my mind or my health or anything, or my spirit. And so like 4 or 5 months in, I was like pretty overwhelmed and things weren't going too well.
Burnt out.
Yeah, so it was pretty burnt out. So then Ed Milet started talking about his 21 days in a week and how he can outwork most people using sense of urgency. So then I picked up his book. I think I ordered it at the Clever Summit, and then I ordered it again at All In. So when they came, 2 came. And last night, one random one came in.
Yeah, Myron got it too.
Is that you?
Yeah. No. So I got one in. I was like, I didn't order that one, whatever. Getting back to it, though, when he started to talk about, hey, listen, I do 21 days in a week, and I break them down, and I use sense of urgency. So from, I believe, 12 to 6, he's asleep. But from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., he works on like personal development, health, education, family. And then from 12 to 6 p.m., it's just full work. But right when 12 hits, you have to shift into the next day. Drop what you're doing, shift, right? Mm-hmm. And then 12 to 6, you're working. And then from 6 to 12, I forgot what he said he did. Well, the thing was, how I look at it was, well, he's at a point where he can do 6 to 12. 12 is too far, especially if I work in the East Coast, though I'm on the West. If I start at 12, it's 3 o'clock. I got 3 hours to get things done before it's done over there. You get me?
Right.
And so what I started to do was, okay, I like that. I'm going to start doing that. But instead of going from 6 to 12, I'll just fucking suck it up and get up at 4 a.m. So what I did was from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., I wake up and in like this basic same order. Right when I wake up, I sit up from my bed and I meditate for about 15. Now it's about 22 minutes. I meditate. Right when I stop meditation, turn off my phone, I pray, jump into a cold shower, work out. It's like 4:45 at that time. Get in the gym, about an hour. Get out of the gym, do a little bit of cleaning if I got the time to do it. I try to put in like some work because I know my spouse is going to do it. And we have a lot of dogs. We have a French bulldog business, and so it gets pretty hectic in the house throughout the day. So about when I'm done doing that, I then go into reading for like a minimum hour and a half. Like last month, I did like 5.5 books.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I started to break this down, right? And then from 10 o'clock, when my alarm hits 10, I stop what I'm doing, no matter where I'm at. I made it a sense of urgency to stop. And then from 10 a.m., I should be going to 4, like how I woke up from 4 to 10. But I said, let me work 2 more hours. It's not enough, right? So now I'm 10 to 6. So I cut off 2 more hours that I could be given to my lady or my family members.
Yeah.
So usually it'll go till 6, but in reality, it goes to like 7 or 8. And I don't give as much time as I should. Like last night was like hour and a half before I passed out. Now I felt bad. I was watching TV with her and usually I just fucking pass out.
Yeah.
So that's what I've started to implement. And from implementing that, it now has allowed me to work on my mind, body, and spirit. And then from there, things started to clear up. I started to become more organized, and now I started to perform. Now, like last month, I was able to purchase 4 properties. The month before, I got my first arbitrage. I locked up my first deal of the month yesterday, and I got 2 other verbal agreements that I got to draft up documents for today. And so now it's cool because I don't know what the hell shifted. Must have been all of that organization, reading, and just working on finally my body and my mind, so I wasn't so stressed. Yeah. And I knew behind the scene that I wasn't cheating myself. That was the number one rule why I felt still good, even though I was going down. And like maybe I had some money saved up in the beginning of the year, and I thought that maybe I would have made it before I ran out of my expenses, my proceeds, or all the money I had saved, and it didn't work that way. So it was kind of like a financial struggle for the last few months. But I knew behind the scenes that I wasn't cheating because I don't drink or do drugs anymore. I was heavily invested back in the day with them, ruined a lot of things. And so I went sober 2 years and like 8 months ago. And that's when I started really reading and studying and educating myself. I built this confidence of myself, like this imaginary system I started to build. So when I came into this community, I already came in prepared. I came in already. I already found myself. I know what I wanted to do.
You had a good foundation.
And you know, like David Goggins says, like sometimes you become this uncommon person in a community around you of common people. Like I used to be a common person. The glass was always half empty. I didn't want to see other people around me doing better, even if it was in a different field that I was never going to enter in. And that's who I was. I was always the common person with everybody. We all went with the flow. When I started becoming this positive, optimistic person, I realized a lot of people didn't like that positivity. A lot of people would brush me off, or some of my closest friends would say, hey, our other close friends are talking crap behind your back because you never were this person. But I understood that I woke up. And so I told some of my closer friends, hey, it's okay. Everybody's closed-minded, and hopefully one day they wake up. And so I just continued to be this uncommon person. Then I started to build the strength where I don't mind being my confident self, even in a room full of people who are not uncommon like me. So now I'm comfortable in my own skin and comfortable on the outside of my own skin, knowing people are not comfortable with me being around. So when I enter sub 2, I enter a room full of other motherfuckers who are just as uncommon as me, right?
Yes.
Who have the same goal. They're positive, they're optimistic. So now I feel like I'm running full speed with everybody here now. And because I'm comfortable on the outside of my skin already, but now I'm with people who are just as comfortable. So now it's like, now we're good. Now I'm rocking and rolling, having a good time. And this is where I'm at so far.
That's amazing. Well, congrats. You sound like you're like kicking ass and finally in the, I mean, I think we can all say sub 2 has definitely changed all of our lives in our own special ways. And yeah, like what's the next uncomfortable spot for you? Like what's the next thing you want to grow into?
So, when I got into this business this year, I got into like halfway through January. I started learning how to wholesale. I had an opportunity to work with one of my buddies, not through sub 2, but with TTP at first.
Yeah.
And I had worked with one of my buddies who was in TTP, and he introduced me to what wholesaling was. And I wasn't in the car business anymore, as that was my profession for years. My buddy lived out here. He knew that I was a salesman. I'm good on the phones or good in person at closing. So he said, hey, we met at a seminar. So his name is Omar Lopez. He was in TTP. We met at a seminar that we lived in the same city in the same valley. We met at a seminar. It was a free Damon John seminar. Went there, ran into each other. We held each other accountable. He stuck with real estate. I stuck to sales. We moved on. 2 years ago, we caught back up. He was doing pretty well in sales. In real estate, I was doing pretty well in sales. This was like 3 months when I went sober. All right. So it was in 2019, December 26, 2019, I go sober. In March, he introduces me to wholesaling is. So I listened, I learned, hear it, didn't do shit with it, left the car business, shifted into a different business, forgot about wholesaling.
Yeah.
But I remember right before I left the car business, I got let go. I was partying too hard. I remember like on a Monday, like the 15th on a Monday, I heard a podcast and it talked about tithing. I wasn't aware of what tithing was. Then I read the book, The 4 Seasons, that Brent Daniel brings up, and it describes a chapter about tithing. On Wednesday, I remember March 16th, like in 2020, I get let go that day. One of my coworkers at the time, which is still there because my brother's still there. He's a minister, and he starts talking about tithing. Well, I get let go from work that day, get my last check. It's like $1,100 on it. And I swear to you, I'm like, I think I have to tithe. And I remember my best friend, I said, hey, I got let go from work, but I think I'm going to tithe. And this is what I do. I take $100 left of my $1,100. I spent like $900 in bills. I had like $200 left. Take like almost 10% of the original check. And I write a note to Omar. I said, hey, I want to tithe to you for giving me spiritual food, because one day I'll step back into this realm and I'll crush it. And crazy thing is, I stepped back in this realm and now I'm looking to crush it. Here's the thing. The first 2 deals I worked with him. First 3 deals I worked with him. First phone call I ever made, we closed a deal. We net like $47,000. Second deal I closed the second week. We net like 50 something. I net him $100,000. I take 20 grand. He knows I'm an entrepreneur with the same mindset. We met at a seminar, and he goes, look, I'm not here to ever have you as an employee. Learn everything you can and fly. So I learned the CRMs, the calling systems, questions pertinent to real estate, because I was already a negotiator for a lot of years. It was nothing new to me, just learning what questions to ask, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned that. And on the 3rd week, a video pops up of Pace Morby. I didn't know who the hell he was. And he talks about why you should join his mentorship, because sometimes a wholesale cash offer doesn't get the deal done. And to me, it was like, hey, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. If you come work with me, I'll show you how to do that. And me being a closer and a salesman in the past, there are a lot of ways to close if you can't do it one way. To me, it was a no-brainer. So I spent some of the money I just made into this mentorship and go on. But I looked at everything as an advanced wholesaler, never looked at it as the end buyer. So I started learning how to overcome objections in the creative financing stage. I started to get through it and pitch it, and even starting to try to create the terms, right? When you reach out to somebody, because I believe in the sub 2 videos, you don't really find actual true underwriting like techniques in the videos. You have to literally lean on somebody to show you how to underwrite. Like once you get somebody to say, yes, I'm open to terms, is when now you're like, how do I write them? So you reach out to somebody, and then the light bulbs click on, boom, boom, as you start to hear them. So I started to do that. And this is where it really got to me. So I started to jump on the Zooms, and I would see Pace, how he was so fucking leveraged. Everybody was bringing him deals because he can close. He's a confident man. It's great. He was already bringing deals to his own table. He has a lot of people that now throw him deals because he has so much value. I noticed that people with specialties, he might not have specialties in, like, let's say in probate or pre-foreclosure, but somebody else who was specialized in that field, like he was specialized in closing, would come to the table and say, hey, I have a deal. Can you close it? And in return, I know that person would exchange all they know at a professional level to Pace, and he would consume that and then just close the deal for them. So what I did do, instead of learning sub 2 right away, or because I just started performing as the end buyer, I didn't look at sub 2 or seller finance or novations or lease options, whatever it was. I didn't look at that. I then was like, I'm going to take his strategy of bringing value to his own community. So I built my own Facebook page. And I knew this, if I can close very quickly for Omar, I'm going to now advertise myself, which I now know is called the Lonza method. So I guess I mastered the shit out of the Lonza method on steroids
Yes.
before I knew who the hell Lonza was, you know? And
what's the name of that Facebook group?
it's called the Powerhouse Mastermind. I do role play Monday through Friday. Yeah, we do role play Monday through Friday. Today we're going to do live seller calls, and tomorrow and now Fridays we're introducing underwriting sessions. So how I built that one was I knew I can close. So what I first did was I made a little description and I posted it in like 100 different Facebook pages that have to do with wholesaling. Just says, hey, my name's Carlos, closed a couple deals within the first 2 weeks. It was only like 3 weeks in, netted my buddy 100 grand. I took 20 grand. Let me close your leads. That's what I'm strong at. And I put it something like fairly nice. I think I put like, hey, if your 9 to 5 doesn't allow you to close, or maybe you can't overcome an objection, or maybe you're too scared, because usually it's one of the last two, right? And so what happened was I then figured out the algorithm on Facebook that on a new page, if you post it, you're not active. So now you got to repeat that action. So that's what I started doing for a month straight. February, I posted a whole bunch. I was learning all the tools and the systems, ready to got my LLC. I was still banking on, I wanted people to bring me leads. I liked working in Omar's business. When I was in the car business, some people couldn't close. What we call a JV in this business is what we call a turn in the car business. I'd get to work and somebody couldn't close, I'll take a turn. My brother was my closer at the time, so he taught me how to negotiate at a high level. I just wasn't performing at that time because I was more immature and partying a lot.
Yeah.
So I get in over here, start posting everywhere. And by March, it hits. People start sending me leads. I close another deal for another TTP student, comes out on a podcast, close a deal for him. And that's when I'm like, hey, you know what? Instead of just closing people's deals, let me use this Facebook group and start coaching my own daily dial type of thing. So then first people can hear me on the phones and be like, that's the guy I do want to send my leads to. And then as I started to think, you know what, let me bring more value to the marketplace. Let me coach people how to do it. Let me coach you how to do it. And also, if I close your deal, like instead of just closing it, if you give me a deal and I close it, 100% I'll go close it so I can eat. But I'm only going to teach you, like, I'm only going to be able to feed you a fish so you can eat for the day type of thing. So I'm into the group so I can show you how to actually close so you can fish for a lifetime and feed you and your family for a lifetime. Even people are like, why would you do that? Because in reality, you bring that much value, they're going to want to work 2 or 3 deals. And I don't mind after they learned it, they can go on their own and do their own thing. I'm not that type of person where I need everybody's deal. Like I even was in another Zoom, and like I think the Lonza method Zoom, they're talking about like, yeah, you want to take their lead and then close them, don't really show them too much. I don't think so. I think that I would rather still show them, because in the end, they're always going to want to lean on you. Well, for sure. The Facebook group, or sorry, go ahead. I know that I'm just.
No, you're good.
Okay.
She just said, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. So this Facebook group, I started saying, dude, let me show you how to do this. And you know what I think I've noticed more than the closing techniques I have. I think people like my attitude and my energy. I think that's what it really is, because I am pretty authentic. I will cuss pretty much a lot. I've refrained myself a lot right now, but I cuss a damn load in my role plays. I give them the mindset and the reasons why you got to do certain things. And so people love it. We went from 3 or 4 people like 2 weeks before the Clever Summit. At the Clever Summit, we were like at 100 people. Then during the Clever Summit, my Powerhouse team was blasting Powerhouse on the virtual Clever Summit. They got kicked out. I got like 40 more people walk up to me during the Clever Summit. I was probably like 2 or 3 months in. After the Clever Summit, we're like 160. Right now, we're like at 550 people. And it's not everybody is completely active, but the crazy thing and the cool thing, what I've liked is from doing that, had 2 or 3 other people I've helped close their first deals. I've had a lot of people get way stronger on the phone. I think I've had 6 people join sub 2 as well, because I always bang out sub 2. And it's great. So now I just started to bring in more value. So now I'm doing live seller calls. And then now we're doing underwriting sessions. We're creating live templates, and we're just putting a little mentorship together for free for others. And we have a lot of sub 2 students, a lot of Astro flippers, a lot of TTP students in there. Got no mentorships. I got a couple of vendors in there, some flipsters, what are those, clever investors. Yeah, and we have people who have no mentorships that learn from YouTube. And then I even took on a few people who are just getting into what is wholesaling and investing.
Right.
I just bought a home in Minnesota, and now the homeowner is in the powerhouse, and he's coming to the role play, and I'm teaching him. I got a lender who pulled a HELOC on his house and funded 80 grand for my Airbnb up north, and now he's in the powerhouse learning.
That's amazing.
It's been great. It's been cool. They're both willing to do testimonies for me. But, here's a beautiful part. I linked up with this guy named Brad Young. Do you guys know Brad Young?
Brad Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He is like having a pace available a few hours out of the day. I don't know why he decided to go out of his way and like my energy and decided to work hand in hand with me. But I can't stop thanking him. And I remember like a couple of days ago, I told him that you're like my Jim Rohn, because I was a big fan of Jim Rohn. I actually use a lot of his lessons to change my life. Mm-hmm. And I told him that, because the reason I reached out to him and told him I like coaching and doing this stuff and blowing up. Like, we're going to have so many deals that I'm going to bring to your table. He started to show me what I couldn't see in the mirror. He started to say, hey, we can perform on these deals. I didn't know that. So he started to show. So we started buying deals together. And I remember I didn't want to reach out to a TTP or sub 2 and really blast, hey, come into my role play. I didn't want to be rude. I went into TTP and I did it. And I posted, like, without posting like links, I just said, hey, come join role play today. And I had like 3 or 4 new TTPs jump in. It was like last Monday. I posted that. So Tuesday was the role play. I had like 3 TTP students come in, ask me after the hour and a half. They're like, how much are you charging? I said, I'm not charging anything. Yeah. I would have rather paid you, man. I went on 24 live calls within the last couple of weeks or whatever, and I got way more from you than I got from them. I said, thanks, man. I love Brent Daniels. It just depends on what you're learning. I'm a specialist in the closing field. That's where I'm trying to bring all my value. And that's probably why a lot of people like hearing me on the phone part, because that's the part I'm learning. I don't know everything real estate, but I do know sales. So I remember on Tuesday after the call, people went back and posted, hey, if you guys missed this role play from Carlos, you guys missed out. You guys need to jump in. And Brent Daniels comments, I love it. I love seeing this. Get loud, do everything. So I text Brent Daniels. This. I said, let me see. I said, where is he at? I put, hey, what's up, coach? I got a lot of TTP students jumping into my role play and my sessions. I love this community of Rhino Tribe and love hosting them. Didn't want to be rude and post the role play in your Facebook group, but I did figured that, we could help out the tribe this way. And then I said, practice doesn't make perfect, but it does make permanent. And it's best to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity arise and not be prepared. And he put, the more, the better, brother. I love it. Grow it. I will call you when I get back to discuss how I can promote you. And I remember sending that to Brad, who showed me so much. I said, Brad, check this out. He goes, do you like educating? I said, you know what? I've learned to love it. It's really cool. And it helps me remember way faster since I'm repeating the action.
Absolutely.
And I said, you know what you are to me? You're like my Jim Rohn, and I'm like a Tony Robbins coming up. And that's funny. Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, we talk about them all the time. And I tell him that, and he goes, I'd love to be on stage with you next year, And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I love Brad Young. He's a beast in oil, notes, gas. Yep. So he showed me some crazy strategies. Like when I started to learn how to rap, now I started to see deals that I couldn't see from sub 2 or seller finance on a wrap. And then he taught me something that I didn't hear in sub 2, how to exit the wrap by selling the note. And to me, it's like a mini fix and flip behind the scenes. Are you guys aware of how that works?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I'm so new. I just started looking at things as the end buyer. I'm like, wow, I wasn't really looking at this as trying to be a creative wholesaler.
Right.
So then where I got to was I just copied and pasted my own community, basically, like paste, and leveraged myself. And now I'm rocking and rolling. I was able to verbalize 2 agreements yesterday, lock one up, and every single day now it's the same thing now. All get to do is probably your guys' stage. You got to get to analyze deals that come in under contract or a super hot lead that you just get on the phone and do what you're already good at doing, closing.
Exactly.
And so now I'm at a point where I enjoy it. This month alone, I want to get 6 to 8 homes alone. Yeah.
To acquire, that's amazing.
Yeah. So we did well. If I did 4 last month and I already did 1 this month, and it's not that hard anymore, especially when you know that you have people you can lean on, partners, you're a phone call away. I open my mouth when I need to be fed. That's the thing, is I'm not nervous anymore. I just go out there and I said, feed me. Give me this, give me that. I'll do all the legwork. You know, I just started to plug and play, syndicate my own deals. Like when the Elephant Challenge came into place, I was like, oh shit, I'm already doing that. Nice. Yeah. Perfect. But that's kind of been the journey I've been on. And now I'm at the point where I needed to go this way. Because like I was saying, financially, ran out of money. I was struggling for a bit. Yeah. But things started to shift. So I know in the next 30 to 60 days, I'll be up.
For sure. And I think we hit those moments too, where we're like, okay, we're feeling a struggle moment, but we know we're already on track. It's like that next level up. Like you hit your plateau and you're like, okay, what's my next strategy to get me up the mountain a little bit further?
Yeah.
So Carlos, I have a question.
Sure.
We have some people here, a couple people watching. They might be looking for their first deal. And what I heard is someone gave you spiritual food and you gave them your last $200 is what it sounded like. And
100, kept 100.
We gave him 100 out of his
my own little safety net.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I tithed $1,000 that next month when I came up. I got into the French Bulldog business over the last 2 years. I came up, and that next following month, I tithed 1,000. And so the tithing became a big aspect of my life. I haven't really tithed as much recently for financial reasons, but in my head too, I should tithe. I was thinking about it last night. I should even tithe when I have a little bit. But yeah, so I started to blow that tithing up thing. I started to do that. But yes, go ahead. Sorry.
When you did that, you said, hey, you've given me a lot. I want to give you something. Do you think that was kind of a turning point and you were able to lean on that person? I'm sorry, I don't remember who that person was.
Omar Lopez.
Omar Lopez. And you leaned on him, and I know you had to get your mind right, because that's number one. If your mind and your body's not right, then it doesn't matter who's in front of you. But do you think that was the turning point where you said, okay, I'm ready to give and I'm ready to move forward? The
turning point was when I went sober 3 months before that. That was the real turning point in my life. You know, like I've had alcohol poisoning. I've flatlined, blood transfusion. I've been addicted to drugs a few different times. Got my ass jumped by the cops like Rodney King, knocked out, curb stomped. Like I lived a different lifestyle for a lot of years. And so really my own lifestyle over the last I started at 12 years old, 29 now. 12, I started smoking weed. I started drinking at 13 and then doing like heavier drugs, cocaine, everything at 14. I messed up my shoulder when I was trying to play football. And then from there, I started doing heavier drugs, got into firefighting, went to an academy, EMT academy, Wildland Academy, and I couldn't hold shit down because I was still partying too hard. That's where I was. So life started to happen. I started, getting my own places, having to be responsible for my own things. And through time, I started to push away everyone that I ever loved, all the money I ever made, just my own ego, self-esteem, and then repetitively done it, embarrassed myself publicly, repetitively. Like by 18, I had already fucking went through the majority of the shit. But then I started to look like a fool I'm 29 now. So for about 2 years and 8 months, I was still looking like a fool everywhere I went. And I was pretty sour. And I remember when I used to drink, it used to be for fun. And then it ended up me drinking because I was depressed and try to hide things. And now I was out of control, couldn't control myself. That was the turning point the last time. And here's why. This is how bad I felt. Probably like 4 or 5 times in already, went through it, tried to change, and it couldn't. This is what made me feel real disgusted. I was working at Ford. I was real drunk in a bad relationship, which saved the relationship real good now. And thank God that changed my whole life and everything for that. But the feeling I felt in my head was horrible. I remember being really drunk on my couch. I had like a 32 ounce like cup, like mug for beer, but it was just Jack Daniels. I used to drink pretty heavy, and I used to mix. My chaser at that point was just Pedialyte. You know, I was just a more advanced person, I guess, drinking. And I used to do a lot of cocaine. That was the number one thing I did. A lot of fucking shit like that. I remember being broke, and I just did the last bit of what I had of the drugs. I remember my girlfriend next to me and my roommate at the time was sitting at the table, and he was also pretty fucked up at the time. But this is the mindset that I had. I remember I was out of money and I wanted more drugs. And I wanted to ask him, and then I refrained myself from asking him. But then that action came back 5 or 6 more times where I really wanted the urge to ask him, can you go get us another sack of drugs and you put in my ends because I'm broke? And I did that like 4 or 5 times in my fucking head. And I was like, this is it. I can't do this shit no more. So that day on December 26, 2019, I went sober. I mean, I was fucked up when I went sober. And I didn't know God, but I met some people who are successful that believe in God. And so I know there's this thing called Lent, or in Spanish it's Cuaresma, like 40 days you give away something that you're very attached to.
Yep.
And so what I did was I had asked God at that time in my head, while I was like hyper thinking because I was super faded and whatnot, I said, I don't ever want to feel this disgusted again or embarrassed or how I literally feel out of control. And so I started talking to him. I know that he's always been there for me and I was never there for him. And that was the most fucked up part. And I remember asking him this, that, hey, I don't want you to do anything for me, but I'm willing to give up and sacrifice and discipline myself this next year, the entire year, just like some of these people do for 40 days for you. And I see that they're good with their life. If I can do this, can you allow me to help myself find myself? So the big power came when right there and then I decided no more alcohol or drugs. 3 or 4 days later comes, it's January 1st. I decided, okay, I'm now going to let go of red meat and pork because I love those things, right? So now I'm about 4 days in, no alcohol, no drugs. Now no red meat or pork. 3 months goes by. So we're in March. I now let go of chicken. So now I'm just pescatarian from March till June or whatever. So as it's getting stronger, as the months go by, I'm letting go of more and more. So then June comes, I let go of fish. Now I'm just vegetarian from July to like October. I now go vegan. I fast for 7 days. So I don't eat for 7 days. I remember throwing up and feeling like shit. Then I had to eat. So then I'm vegan. At that point, from there till December, the end of the year, I also, because I smoke weed. So I stopped smoking weed. I went into a 90-day meditation phase. And I gave up any sex or masturbation for the next 90 days and gave up basically everything. Went vegan, very minimal eating, all this stuff. And I don't think that you have to do all that. But in that process, I lost my fucking mind to try to find who I am. Mm-hmm. And then I did find myself. And you know what? I started re-implementing some of those decisions recently when I went and implemented the 21 days. And so right now I'm pescatarian. Let go of red meat and pork a couple months ago, then chicken. Right now I'm pescatarian. Next month I'll go vegetarian. I don't want the reason that I don't have any natural like talents. I'm not gifted. I have a lot of work ethic. So how I see it is you're working 9 to 5 with me. I don't have a 9 to 5 for a W-2, but you and I work for ourselves. So if we're working 9 to 5, we deserve to be in the same place. Even if we progress in a year from now, we deserve to be in the same place. So that's why I make sure that I'm waking up at 4 a.m. to work harder than most of you people, because I don't have the talent or gifts, but I'll put the ethic in there. So I wake up way before you do so I can put in my time. Then 9 to 5 happens. Then 9 to 5, when it's done, I'm still going to outwork you. I'm still going to read a little bit. I'm still going to break my rules and go a little bit longer so I can outwork you. And then on top of that, if you're going to outwork me, then I'm going to outdiscipline you. And I'm going to give away things that I enjoy the most, which I have. And so that's where I'm at. It's not that I have natural like talents or gifts. It's just my work ethic. And I just know that behind the scenes, I got to outwork you. I got to outwork most people because I'm not talented. And that's just kind of where I've been like that. That was the real shift, was fucking losing my mind. Getting into tithing and everything, I accepted like God into my heart and things like that. Like in April, it was a crazy thing that happened. maybe a different story. A revelation fucking happened. I accepted him in my heart. Some crazy shit happened to me. I started speaking this crazy language, and I don't go to church and everything, but now I see very clearly where I'm headed. So a lot of that, I primed myself. That saying that I sent to Brent Daniels is best to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity arise and not be prepared. What do you think happened when I walked into sub 2? I came prepared.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only difference. I came prepared, and now I'm learning how to dig myself out of this hole. But I feel like I've made it. Hey guys, Maui, come here.
He's like,
that's where I feel like I felt like I've been able to pull myself out, and that's the most powerful thing for me because it's beautiful. I had a conversation with Omar as well. I said, "How crazy is that letter I gave you?" Like it talks about. In spiritual food, doesn't always have to be giving money to a church. You could have given it to somebody who introduced you to something that you knew was going to change your life. Omar didn't teach me everything I needed to know about wholesaling, but he introduced me to something I didn't know, and now I knew what it was. And I was interested in it. And one day I was going to come back to it. And the coincidence, I remember the day before. See, I breed French bulldogs. I lost one of my dogs in like January 15th or 16th. He was 8 months old. Had like liver issues. I have 8 dogs. I have 4 that live with me. And my dogs came when I went sober. I had just got my dogs, and they came at a point of emotional help, you know. And so I really care for my dogs. So I lost one of my dogs. I remember that was really hard for me. And I remember coming home the next night, and I remember getting robbed at gunpoint at my house.
What?
And 2 days later, I shifted, or that night, I remember thinking I wanted to get into this fucking real estate game. And the next day, Omar hits me up and says, "Hey, are you interested in coming in?" I said, "Yeah." That Monday, first phone call I make on one of his VA leads, I closed the deal. And I knew I needed to shift. And so I went all in, shifted with every money I had left. I left it there, put the French Bulldog business on pause. And I went in, banked on myself to make it quicker, but I didn't make it in that time frame. I went broke, had to go and ask for extensions for a few months. It fucking sucked ass. Had to feel embarrassed again. You can't support yourself or your family. And behind the scenes, I couldn't stop anymore, even if I wanted. I have my own bills, my own family, my own dogs, my own everything, you know? So there are a lot of days last month and the month before I just wanted to lay down and sleep, but I knew I couldn't anymore. And I didn't. And so I knew I had to keep working. And the thing is, behind the scenes, I never cheated. I didn't go and party, go do drugs. I already quit all that. And so what I feel coming into place is fucking well-deserved and well-earned because it was hard. But yeah, that's kind of summarized exactly that.
I think it's awesome. Well, it's not awesome in the time that it's happening, but the way God, universe, whatever you believe in, like will always continue to push you in the direction that you ultimately know you need to go, and like hitting your quote unquote rock bottoms and like having to start over and having to like come up again and look where you are now. And like you're thriving. Even when you feel like shit is tough or whatever, you're still thriving, and you still know, like you said, you're not cheating. You're not cheating. You know what you're doing. You know the work that you're putting in, and you're getting better and better and leveling up. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think that was able to, I found the power within, and I think that's what makes me feel more confident, even knowing if I'm a little bit wrong, it doesn't matter. I've walked my path now.
Right.
No, it's your own story. Like there's no wrong in it, you know?
Yeah. And I'm blessed to be around a lot of great people because I learn a lot now. I pick up things, you know, I don't have to learn through my own failure. I can learn from what you failed on, like that. And so now I'm just shifting a little bit into, I have deals that come in on single family, but now I'm trying to shift more into what you guys do. See how I can bring value and learn as well, because I'm ready to crush it. I don't think that real estate is an avenue for me, because I came in as a businessman and a salesman before real estate. So I'm a hustler behind the scene. I think I'll always be that person over real estate, but real estate did show me the best business and best sales I've ever done, you know? Mm-hmm. So I love what I do here, but I have other dreams and goals. I would love to go back and be a firefighter just so I can go and be a smoke jumper. But I'd rather have my finances in place, because firefighters, unfortunately and sadly, they don't get paid shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this is a great avenue for me to retire. My brother's in the car business, makes great money, but doesn't have any time for his family and kids. So my goals are to retire him by just not throwing him on half my deals next year, get him enough capital to then just leave, and he's taught me everything. He deserves like the world. My mom too. So before I get my dreams, I want to make sure that I retire and sell everybody out by helping them out, and then I go after my actual visualization dreams because they're pretty luxurious. They're gonna take some time. And some
For sure. I'm the same way. Like I'm a luxury person, and I can already see everything in my head. But I know it's like you have to learn that delayed gratification and stop being a greedy ass person in your life. Like stop thinking everything is just going to come to you overnight. We had a comfortable life before real estate. We had a 6-figure income. We could do whatever the hell we wanted to. And now it's not that way at all. And it's like a whole different configuration in your brain. You have to not place the expectation on the outcome of like, when is that result going to happen for me? When is that going to come? Like you can't put your focus there. You just have to focus on what do I got to do today to push myself forward for the next day and the next day and keep going. And then like the rest is up to the world, right? Like you just got to put your action in place and put your intention out there. So
100%. I agree with you guys.
So something about us, I'm not making this about us, but
I was going to ask you guys anyways, because I'd like to I've heard you guys' names a lot, so like I don't know exactly everybody. I'm out here trying to build myself, but I hear you guys' name all the time from when I started. So, and I heard a couple other more people that I reached out to as well, like just after hearing them. But I don't really, we're all our own power. We all have our own things to do. But I do want to learn, who you guys are, what you guys do, because your guys' names does go around, which is awesome.
I love that. Eric Thomas. I listen to him.
It's your boy, E.T.
One video that I listen to over and over, and I'll listen to it maybe twice a month. Mm-hmm. And it feels and hits different every single time I listen to it. And he said something that I didn't hear until recently. It was like, when you understand who you are, you stop operating in desperation. When you understand who you are, you stop operating in desperation. And I was like, man,
I like that.
Because there's so many people here. There's so many people, especially in sub 2. There's all this information. They're devouring, they're consuming, and they don't know what to do. And Carolyn and I have drive, but I feel like I work against myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not on my true path where I haven't figured out my truth path for myself. Real estate is where it's at. Like I get excited talking about it, right? You'll see my energy go up, right? But like, how can I want to serve others, but also myself and my family, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'll be grinding and I'll have the sense of urgency, right? And it's almost like things around me start breaking. Things around me start going sideways. And I work through it and I figure it out. And I'm like, when is that thing going to just go? When is that click just going to happen? You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't see it. You don't see what's happening until
you look back at it.
Yeah, you look backwards, right? And so I think a lot, like for me, is like, I got to take the time and understand where we've been, because we've been unemployed for over a year. We're working for ourselves, and you show up, you work as hard as you can every day. You don't get an hourly check every day. You can show up and work your ass off for a month and not get paid. Where if you had a W-2, you got paid. So yeah. I love everything you're saying, man. I love how you're structuring your day. you're disciplining yourself, and now you're surrounding yourself with great people. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, get yourself right and put yourself in that circle, and you're running with them. It's not like you against them. You see
Right.
their success, you're like, hell yeah, let's go. I love it.
Fires me up now. Yeah. I can agree with you, like, on that feeling of having to work and it's like super delayed gratification. There's a point where you become this optimistic, positive motherfucker, right? Where you really believe that it's going to happen for you. You truly envision what you see, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen for you, and you work towards it. Then you find out there's a lot of mistakes that happen, that accumulate over time. There comes this one fucking point that breaks everybody. Is it ever really going to happen for me? Am I ever going to walk through the fucking gates of success? And usually we ask that question right when we're in front of the door. And it's a turning point for most people, because a year will go by of us busting our asses off, being positive during the negative. And most people right there and then will walk away. And that's when life happens and they never dream again. People will go with the flow from there on out. That's where you have to continue to being positive. It sucks ass, but we're brand new. We're 1 year into being a positive person. 1 year, right? This is what I call, people are like, oh, you think I'm good now? I'm a toddler right now.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Give me 18 years to be an adult, and you're going to see the truest beast you've ever seen. This is us being a toddler, right? And so this is the hardest I've ever worked, 8 months straight consecutively every single day, no cheating behind the scenes. And I'm like, fuck it. If I want to be like a Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, this shit's got to go for years, decades like this. And I'm willing to take that. The thing is, I'm willing to take it. And another reason why is when I decided that I wanted to shift my life, I knew this. When I made that mindset, I knew one day that I was going to be all right with life. But what I didn't know was a lot of my friends weren't going to be all right with life. And I couldn't help myself know that I'm going to be all right and see them and not help them. And so that's why I started to project myself. I started to document myself. I started recording myself. You can find videos older than when we've met, or I've jumped into sub 2 that are already me this confident stating what I'm trying to do with my life. So over the last 2.5 years, where I'm more powerful is not in between the sub 2 community. It's behind the scenes with the homies outside, with everybody else around me, because they got to see me. And now, the beautiful thing, those friends who I was talking about earlier, how my closest friends were saying, hey, your other friends are talking shit. Who do you think's now, Carlos, what books should I read? How can I get into? I got some in the powerhouse. I got some that I'm teaching. There's a beautiful feeling. I best believe I said, hey, I'm definitely going to guide you, but just want to let you know, 2.5 years ago, homie, this person told me you were talking shit. And it's okay, because you were closed-minded. Now you're open-minded, and this is where you are. And now I love this because I get to teach other people who physically saw me go through the works, come up and out. And now they're seeing, oh, I just put 4 homes. Who do you think now, when I made that post about, oh, do you have any money saved up? Are you leaving money in the bank? You gaining 0.9 to 1% interest? Inflation's 10% plus rising. Invest your money to get a double-digit return with me, right? And I got a lot of my friends now open up their books, right? And so the beautiful part for all of that is me documenting myself, knowing I was going to move forward. It's a good reference for me, but as well, it inspires a lot of my friends and other people. And I'm sure, right here for whoever's watching or whoever's going to watch this in the future, it should fire your ass up too, because this shit is possible and it's all real. We got Myron and Carolyn that have went through it themselves, and myself too. I think that here's another thing that people who are listening should listen to. I think you need to grow up. Like, you're a full-grown adult, right? Why do we have to act like babies? Why do you have to feel so bad about every single thing happening to you? Shit happens to all of us. I just talked about what happened to me, and I'm still grinding through it. I still need help. I still need all this stuff. I just think that we're too much of pansies nowadays. A lot of males don't have testosterone anymore. They're real feminine. And if you're getting hurt behind the scenes, I don't give a shit. That's just, you're never gonna make it, especially in today's age. You don't have the guts, you don't have the mindset or the power. You should just sit back at home and then keep reading those books that you keep telling people that you read, because reading ain't gonna ever do shit for you unless you act it out. And that's the majority of people, and I hope it wakes your ass up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially in this real estate space, obviously, because we see it every day, like, a lot of people still live in their victim mentality. Like you could very well easily live in your victim mentality and, oh, I had that, like this happened to me and that happened to me. And sure, I think it's an important part of your story and your journey because look where you came from, but you're not living there anymore. A lot of people still live there. They say they're here, they say they're present and they're working, and maybe they are, they're putting in the effort, but their mind is still on this happened to me 10 years ago and that's why it's holding me back. I mean, shit, like, I know I'm still guilty of that in certain respects, and he could be still guilty of that. But it's having the self-awareness to understand, like, I'm acting like a victim right now, and I need to get my shit straight and not be that way and process, go through what you need to go through, get your mind right, get your body right, your spirituality right, and everything, and keep going. And stop going back to the comfort space of woe is me.
I 100% agree. I think this too, if you're trying to become a professional, a reason why I like to do the role play, right, is because why should I look like a rookie when it's game day, right? Like somebody answers the phone, they're qualified, ready to sell. Is it my time to be a rookie? Is it my time to be a professional? And if you don't have a mentorship, right, and that's okay, go learn your mistakes then. Go fuck up on the phone and don't fuck up that exact way the next time. But a lot of people are hosting role play now. A couple reasons why I like role play. Keeps me fresh. Subconsciously, I'm remembering everything that I'm asking. I work harder in practice. Should always be harder in practice than it is in game day. Ask any athlete. Takes 1 in a million to get there. 5 days a week, they're busting their ass off in conditioning, everything. And then game day is smooth. It should be that way. You should be professional, right? You should get in there 5 days a week. You should role play. Even if you feel like you're good, what you don't use, you lose. Older people have been walking for 60, 70 years. Then for 5 years out of their life, they decide to sit down. They don't get to use their legs anymore. What you don't use, you lose. Same thing. People can think that they can close at high levels. But if you're not practicing, you don't deserve to even get better. You deserve to, close anybody that's super distressed, right? But all the other deals that I had just bought on sub 2, they weren't actual distressed. I just know how to make it make sense now. That's all it is, So a lot of people, if you're trying to get better, jump into some daily dials or some role plays. And then same thing about reading books and not doing shit. Don't jump in here just to listen and procrastinate to try to get up in there and role play. You got to remember, those people who are coaching those role plays are the people that you want to fail in front of because they're going to catch you and believe you can't be great at something when you're starting at something. So you're going to fail. You're going to fall. But that's the place where you should start priming the mind. I need to start role playing. I need to start getting better because the reality is this, that if you are too nervous to actually practice, you will never get better in practicing because your fear of is what's going to hold you back. Now, if you can get the mindset right and get over the fear of failure and then practice, 5 days, all you fucking need. 5 days for you to fucking get really solid. But if you're really nervous, you're not going to be able to do it. It's holding you back. It's holding you back the entire time. I think this too, when you're learning from people, learn from people who are doing it at a level that you want to learn by. Like I'll give a scenario, a lot of analogy. Sometimes we learn from people that we're close to. It might not be the best thing. I'll give an analogy. If you were to cut a tree, Carolyn, and I gave you a metal spoon and I gave Myron a chainsaw, best believe both of you are going to cut the tree. The only difference is the time frame it's going to take. Carolyn's now going to sweat her ass off, be frustrated, use a lot of labor, and cut one tree over a week. Myron done cut fucking 50 trees in the same time frame. It's who you learn from as well, right? Mm-hmm. Big thing. Here's one thing, guys. If you have anxiety and fear, it's a subconscious reaction that you already created. Anything you do, if you want to get on stage and speak, but you get nervous, you're creating a habit. Same thing if you want to go and talk to a crush or say something to your mentor. Anytime that you put yourself in a position to be uncomfortable, you then create this habit subconsciously to refrain and walk away. And like another analogy, right? Like me, if I wanted to speak on stage, yeah, I might get nervous, but I'm willing to do it because my goal and dream is on the other side of that fear of failure is I want to be on stage, right? So if I'm going to do something that's going to get me scared, best believe I'm only going to do it if there's something on the other side for me that I want. Another analogy, your house is on fire. You guys both have separate kids, right? Let's just say that, right? There's a house on fire. And let me ask you guys, or even not even separate people, just you guys together. Let's say you guys have a kid. If there's a house on fire and you find out there's nobody inside that house, would you run into that fire? That's a general question. I'm asking both of you. Would you guys run into a house on fire when there's nobody in there, meaning there's no children of yours? Or let's present those children as your dreams and goals. There's no children inside that house. Would you run in that house? No.
I don't think so.
But now let's say that house is on fire and your kids are in there. Now would you run into the house?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Carolyn was like, no, I hate my
I
kids.
mean, like,
She's
without
like,
a doubt.
no
like,
question
there's
about
no,
Yeah, no questions asked, right? You
Yeah.
run into that fucking fire, no questions asked. Because that's your goal and your dream is those kids, right? Same thing here. If I have a fear of doing something, I'm going to run into that house that's on fire if there's a goal and dream in there for me. And I've now created that mindset. I get nervous all the time. I get nervous all the time, but now I'm getting a little bit better at not being nervous. And because I've primed my mind to think like that, there's a little devil and little angel that comes up every time where I'm about to get nervous. And then it says, oh, this is where you usually walk away. The fucking devil will leave. My angel will be like talking to me saying, hey, it's time for you to coach yourself and walk through it. So then I go into this character mode. Okay, yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Silos in the building, right? There's my alter ego. That's what helps me get through some shit. I then come in with the character and I role play myself. But that's how I look at it. And people, if most people who don't look at it that way, maybe that can help them out with some analogy to see first who to learn from. And then if you have some fear, think about what's on the other side of that fear. And if it's worth it for you, I highly suggest you walk through that.
I love it, man.
You're speaking right to me right now.
I speak to myself. Shit, when I hear this recording, I'm like, I was speaking to myself.
Well, all right, Carlos. You've done this has been amazing. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day. I know that you're a structured guy, and
Your time is precious.
yeah,
yes.
exactly right. So, I think everybody here is already connected to you, but would you let us know how we can connect
Where
with
we
you?
can find you, how we can do business with you.
Yeah, for sure. So social media, you can find me on Facebook, Carlos Ruiz. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Carlos Ruiz. My Facebook page, it's Powerhouse Mastermind.
Is it I am Carlos Ruiz?
No, I'm just
Oh,
I am Carlos Ruiz, Ruiz. Phone number 760-902-7843. Just feel free to reach out to me however you like. I'll get to you guys.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Appreciate you guys so much.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your knowledge with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Talk to
y'all.
you soon.
Bye, guys.
Have a good day.